And we welcome you back to the Music City Motorplex coverage of the Adam Petty Memorial All-American 400 Weekend. With Scott Sutherland, Mark Allen on pit road, I'm Rick Benjamin. 15 laps to the cross flags, Island and Wimmer and Nick Neville in car number 1. They're your top 3 as we go racing.
These guys know in 15 laps they're going to have cross flags. They're also going to get a caution. It's going to be competition. The way you are on the racetrack will be the way you restart. You'll be able to come down and get your 4 tires. They're going to fight for everything they can this last 15 laps.
Jason Hogan, Jimmy Lang fighting hard for a spot now down the main straightaway into turn 1. There's Paul Kelly in that black and orange 23 car behind Lang. And Russell Fleeman back there as well, one of the Georgia stars of the RC Cola Moon Pie ASA Southeast Asphalt Tour. But Hogan's starting to pick them off one by one.
And I think as the tires show a little bit more wear, I think he'll have the advantage. But can he get enough to make that second run, that second 100 laps?
Griffin McGrath in the 64 car, the black and green machine, runs in 4th spot. Behind Wimmer, who is 2nd, Neville, who is 3rd. He started on the pole. Andrew McGrath in the black 0 car. Preston Peltier in the 5. Now he's got Hogan and Brian Campbell from Michigan right behind him side by side. That's a good battle. 3 cars that are very fast.
And Hogan's having to use that bottom groove. That is a lot harder on tires than the guys on the outside. They keep their momentum up. Hogan with a good pass, but man, he is really working those tires right now.
In this situation, it's a sunshiny afternoon. Pretty warm here today, about 75 degrees. Will the halfway break and the adjustments be the key for these guys?
Well, I think it will be for certain guys. Jason Hogan would love to just see this thing run another 50 laps. He's had the advantage. The guys up front, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd guys, they like to get this thing, settle it down, put 4 more tires on, make a minor adjustment. That'd be good to go.
Russell Fleeman in that 98. He's from Lawrenceville, Georgia. He and Paul Kelly race against each other all the time. They've made selected appearances with the RC Cola Moon Pie ASA Southeast Asphalt Tour this season, and they've always acquitted themselves very well. There's Ryan Crane in that red 10 car from Panama City, Florida. He's stuck back in 11th, 12th position right now, fighting with Kyle Collins in that silver number 9. He's from Appleton, Wisconsin. And there's Bill Elliott's development driver, Casey Roderick, way back in 21st.
And you see the 8 car on the outside of him, Hoffman, a pre-race favorite, back out on the racetrack, just making last, but really out of contention.
Yeah, tough break for Hoffman. He spent a long time on pit road. Casey Roderick back there in 21st. He ran very well at Lanier as well, but now stepping up in weight class a little bit, if you will. This big 5/8 mile racetrack, you learn a lot here, but you've got to be on your game.
You will learn a whole bunch and not realize it till you get home, but being at a fast racetrack, and this is brutally fast, and it wears the tires out. You have to learn how to soft pedal. This goes a long ways into your future.
Is this a place where you really do that old saw we hear, you've got to go slow to go fast, you don't get on the gas too hard here?
Overdrive the corners one time, you'll lose 3 spots. You've got to be slow, you've got to be smooth.
Jonathan Island continuing to lead in the 77. Chris Wimmer in that 52. Now, I've thought from watching that Wimmer might have the fastest car in the place. So far, he has not challenged Island for the lead, but they've opened up a straightaway on the 3rd place car.
And I think Island would just kind of lollygagging a little bit. I think he wants to lead that halfway. He wants to be that front runner and make Wimmer work for it.
Jason Hogan, meantime, the Hogan number 92, 3 wins in a row in the RC Cola Moon Pie ASA Southeast Asphalt Tour. Uses the bottom to get by Morrissey in the 0. Opens the door up for Preston Peltier, and here comes Brian Campbell as well.
Jason Hogan needs about 1 or 2 spots more before this break, if he can get there, to set him up for that second 100. He's really strong as these tires wear out at the end of this 100-lap segment.
Coming up on 90 laps on the board, your Enterprise Rent-A-Car running order. Enterprise, the official rental car partner of the RC Cola Moon Pie ASA Southeast Asphalt Tour. Check out where your favorite driver runs at the top of your screen. Hogan picks off another car, moves by that 64 of Griffin McGrath, who'd been in the top 5, and that opens the door again. Peltier uses the bottom as well. Hogan kind of bulldozing the trail for him here.
Hey, Peltier, he said, that's my best friend right now. Go ahead, use the snowplow, and I'll follow in the wake.
So Hogan gains a couple of spots. Here comes Campbell on the inside of McGrath's 64 car. Brian Campbell, you've got to be impressed with him. They've had a lot of turmoil in that race team. That is the Boyne Machine team out of Michigan. Team's been sold. It'll stay intact. Campbell will continue to drive. This is their last race under the Boyne Machine ownership. Meantime, Jason Hogan on fire. He picks off 3rd spot from Nick Neville in that blue number 1. Now we'll see if Hogan can do anything with the 2 leaders.
And there's a lot of gap between him and 2nd place. I don't think he can run him down in the last few laps. But he sure has learned a lot about his race car in the last segment. The guys running 1st and 2nd, they've also learned a lot about their race cars for the second half of this race.
Neville slips up the racetrack. Brian Campbell and Preston Peltier get by as well. So Neville giving up a lot of ground here as we get very close to halfway on the 5-lap caution break. Griffin McGrath in the 64, same situation. Lap traffic gets him. But you've got to be impressed with Hogan. He's picked up 13 spots in the first 90 laps here.
Well, he's been using the bottom of the racetrack. Really surprises me. He's been using the bottom. Everybody else is kind of in the middle groove or into the second groove. Really surprised me. Island. What can you say about this guy? From Minnesota, not a lot of big track experience. He's putting on a show here today.
Started fourth, powered to the lead, and he has stretched it out now. And Chris Wimmer right with him. Preston Beltier in the Silver 5, one of the RC Cola Moon Pie ASA Southeast Asphalt Tour regulars, holding off Brian Campbell for the moment in that 23C out of Holland, Michigan. Campbell's been strong as well, and he knows how to run these longer races. If there's a guy to watch in the second half, I'm not so sure it's not Campbell, because he's got a lot of experience here and a lot of other places where high speed and long runs are a factor.
Well, you're talking about a fast racetrack with a lot of banking, and the asphalt is very abrasive. These guys are in the middle of a long run. They're learning a lot about the race cars. They're calling their guys in the pits going, my car's going away, my car's going away. It doesn't drive good. Don't worry about it. Neither does anybody else.
Neville in the 1, Morrissey in the 0, McGrath in the 64, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And there's Paul Kelly, one of our Southeast Tour stars, running 9th right now. Island in the 77, continuing to lead. And Chris Wimmer has fallen off the pace in the 52 car. So Island all by himself will come to the crossed flags and the yellow waves. 100 laps complete. Now, these drivers will have a segment of several laps of caution. You can't advance your position. You can come to pit road, get 4 tires, get some fuel, make adjustments if you want to. What do you think here?
Well, I think the guys that are running first, second, third, they really like what they have. Maybe Chris Wimmer at the end kind of faded, but really used his car up trying to get there. But you're going to see a lot of the guys towards 10th on back. They're going to be making wholesale changes.
Well, Jason Hogan, the Hogan Lumber 92, third right now after starting 16th. He's the first driver from the RC Cola Moon Pie ASA Southeast Asphalt Tour in the running order. Mark, what are they going to try to do down there?
Jason Hogan, far and away the fastest car on the speedway, in for his pit stop. He will not lose positions in leaving pit road, so they can take their time and get the job done right. Jason Hogan said he was really saving his car for the second half of the race, but it's awfully hard to prove it by what we've just been watching.
He was not leading the race, but he was the fastest car on the racetrack the last 10 laps, and he couldn't afford to lay back. He had to get there.
Hogan gets a drink of water. He'll restart right behind the 2 leaders. We'll see if he can do anything with them when we come back at the Music City Motorplex. Our coverage today is being brought to you by Hedman Hustler Headers, the official exhaust header of the ASA Southeast Asphalt Tour. By Shark Energy Drink, the official energy drink of the ASA Southeast Asphalt Tour. Shark Energy Drink, don't crash. And by La Quinta Inns and Suites, the official hotel partner of the ASA Southeast Asphalt Tour.